Welcome. You are listening to the Suspense Files on the Sister Speak show. The Suspense Files, where we cover the who, what, when, where, why in urban crime. Welcome to the Sister Speak show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Sister, spiritual inspiration shared through the arts. Sister, spiritual inspiration shared through Ayana, but you better call me Sister Speak. Welcome. How y'all doing? How y'all feeling? I hope everything is all right with you. It's 8:35 p.m. Central Standard Time. I am recording from Dallas, Texas. I hope everybody is just doing well. Tonight's episode on the Suspense Files, the praying pastor, demonic activity, murder in the ministry. Are you ready? Okay, I hope so. Welcome to my first time listeners. Let me explain something to you about the Sister Speak Show Network. The Sister Speak Show Network is rated R for a strong. Hold on, make sure I can hear my music. I don't want it to be too loud in my ear. Hold on, y'all. The Sister Speak Show Network is rated R for strong language, thoughts, and ideas. First and last warning. That warning might pop up once or twice, possibly, depending on whatever I say, because sometimes it's like, ooh, but I have to say what I have to say. You're going to need two things when you listen to the Sister Speak Show Network: water and scuba gear. Water because that's your healing power, that's your gasoline. That's what you need in order to live. If you don't like water, you don't like life, and there's no way you could even listen to the Sister Speak show at all. You won't be able to keep up, okay? Your brain needs as much water as possible. Not too much. We don't want you to swell or drown yourself, but just keep your body constantly hydrated with water. It's made up of 75% to 95% of water, so there's no excuses. And scuba gear, because we dive deep on the Sister Speak show. We go through to leagues of the sea that some are afraid to actually swim and dive into, sink into, but you're going to have this self-contained underwater breathing apparatus in order to keep up. That's just what it is. Okay, the Sister Speak show is a pro-village podcast. We are pro Most High God and Yah. I know that I'm a part of the 12 tribes of Israel. I believe in the 12 tribes of Israel. I'm from the tribe of Judah. Make no mistake about it. We are for solution for the pollutions. We are about remedies and panaceas. And I know one thing about my brothers and sisters. Y'all like mystery. Y'all like intrigue. You like cold cases. You like the whodunits. You are all into it. You like crime documentaries and, shows of the sort. And this podcast segment is just that, the Suspense Files. And I was like, ooh, I am so excited about this episode because this is going to ruffle some feathers. And hey, what would the Sister Speak show be without ruffling some feathers, right? It's just imperative that you don't walk into something and not be able to walk out. Or you might have already walked into it, and now after listening to this episode, you're going to run, okay? Because a way of escape is there for you, but we do not want anybody to fall victim or remain a victim to a praying pastor. And you see how the word is spelled. That is Preying. Make no mistake about it. Now, let me explain something to you. I know that most of my listeners, I know you guys are listening. Let me turn this down. I know most of you guys are listening and you support the Sister Speak Show Network, but just in case, well, not just in case, I know there's going to be some haters. I mean, what we need our footstools, right? So, we are not with the Skeletors, the Hagathas, the Gargamels, the Azraels, the Wartmongers. We're not with the ones who say, you know what? We're going to go ahead and take advantage of the village. We're going to destroy the village. We're going to lie in secret in the village and snipe, our own people in the village. There are people who have no good intentions when they listen to shows that are bold like this. And we do a lot of return to senders on the Sister Speak Show Network. So we're going to start this off with a big return to sender, because I am going to say some things that, this is an episode where you are familiar with those who have grown up in the church, and I put that in quotations, and you have those who say, you better not say anything about my pastor. My pastor can do no wrong. And you know what I say? Oh, you better stay tuned. Because no, I'm not saying all pastors are praying pastors. I'm saying that there are a lot. And if you are blind and deaf and you're lame, you are the perfect person for the praying pastors congregation. They love people like you who come and attend their congregation, their church, and you are so enamored and in awe by the power, the status, and the words that are coming out of the pastor's mouth that you'll do anything for your pastor, even advocate for your pastor, even if your pastor is a predator. And that is pollution. And I have some clips, of course. This is a Sister Speak show. I have clips that are for fair use, according to the Fair Use Act of 1976, to raise awareness, to educate my brothers and my sisters about the praying pastor. Because some of you just left a church today, whether it was virtual or in physical, and you have no idea. You have no idea what's going on. And there are male, female, and children who are the victims of the praying pastor, the praying priest. And we are not going to pretend as if these crimes do not occur and as if there have not been breaking news, or just news in general about news segments about praying pastors and the downfall of a congregation, so on and so forth. Now, listen, like I said, we are warriors on the Sister Speak show. We do not live in lies. We have to live in spirit and in truth. And what would we be as a tribe if we did not raise awareness and expose the dangers of entering into some congregations? That's just a period, point blank. We're not going to pussyfoot around it. We're not going to bullshit about it. We're going to keep it 100, because if we don't, then our people will continue to perish for lack of knowledge. See, it isn't until you have extracted yourself from the cult aspect of anything, and until you have emancipated yourself and seek the kingdom of God and his righteousness, these things will never be added unto you. And these things you can't buy them. You cannot buy them. But they are imperative to your walk, your talk, everything about you, especially when you're chosen, when you're a light worker, when you've been sent on this earth as an earthly angel, when you're his child. You need these skills that are in the spirit in order to be able to protect yourself from those who misuse the word of God, of the Most High God. Take the Bible and pervert it for their own greed and gain and gluttony, and then leave people wondering and debating with themselves whether or not, who are they in the word. Who are they? Are they saved? What was this? Can I trust again? Can I come to another congregation? Wounded, wounded, wounded from the warfare that took place inside of the church. Okay? Having faith, too much faith in the pastor and not enough faith in their own walk. Taking their eyesights off of the resurrection of the Most High God and how he sits high and looks low, and takes their eyes off of their praise and worship to God and making the pastor God. Anybody in a low vibrating energy can be susceptible to falling into that trance, doing anything for the pastor. And there are women, there are men who become fans of the pastor. Yes, men, yes, women of the pastor. And in that there is the birth of the manipulation. There's the birth of the deceit, the betrayal, the wool being thrown over people's eyes. There's so much that manifests if the pastor is in a low vibrating energy, all that power, oh goodness. Everybody cannot handle that type of power, that type of level of commitment and responsibility. And it is misused and abused. On tonight's episode of the Suspense Files, covering the who, what, when, where, why in urban crime, the praying pastor, demonic activity, murder in the ministry. We'll be right back, brothers and sisters. I thank you. I thank you for being a wonderful listening audience. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Oh, I know. Some of you want to click off, but you're not going to be able to. You know why? Because you want to listen. You know why? Because the truth shall set you free. Tongue twister, but I got it out on the second one. We'll be right back, brothers and sisters, after this commercial break. You're a wonderful, divine listening audience, okay? Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is your regular routine. What's different than any other day? You're not even thinking about the fact that there's pain behind the pleasure that you're seeking. The latest episode of Coming to the Stage on the Sister Speak Show is available on demand now, rated R for strong content, language, and thoughts. On this episode, pornography, behind the scenes, the price of pleasure, contracting STDs, and quitting the industry. On Coming to the Stage, we're covering theater, TV, and film. Click the link in the bio for the latest episode on the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. There's a price to pay. Can you afford it?
You just took playing That's My Car to a whole nother level. The latest episode of the Tour on the Sister Speak Show is available on demand now. Rated R for strong content, language, and thoughts. On this episode, jacking for more than beats, the effects of GTA and rap music, confessing to crimes over beats, lyrics leading to arrest. On the tour, we're covering all aspects of the music industry, including interviews with musicians, managers, songwriters, producers, music groups, DJs, and exclusive music and concert reviews. Either you're playing the video game or the video game is playing you. Click the link for the latest episode on the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Be careful. It's time to podcast and chill with the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, in Action, a talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Welcome back. You are listening to the Suspense Files. Brothers and sisters, check this out. We're going to go ahead and get right into these clips because I've got some things I need to say. And, well, this is my show, so I can pretty much do what I want to do. But let me explain something to you. I am not going to sugarcoat shit. Not in any way, shape, or form. So, if this is going to be an episode that triggers you, I would probably click off now because, number one, I don't care. Number two, it's about exposing the truth and not letting someone play with your soul's salvation who professes to be called to stand before you and others and lead the way. You need to understand something. Some of your pastors are standing on a treadmill. They're not going anywhere. You think they're leading. No. Look, let me explain something to you. You got to know when somebody's out for a walk and when they're actually leading. If there's nobody behind them, then they're just out for a walk. You need to look around and start surveying the congregation, looking at the demographics. Why are things the way they are? My brothers and my sisters, you are going to have to seek ye the kingdom of God for real, for real. And until you do it, and if you are relying on somebody else to spoon feed you, you're in trouble. Your soul is in trouble. Everything is in trouble. You are in trouble if you are not seeking and having a daily lifestyle where nobody can shake your soul, including a praying pastor. Some of you are afraid to challenge a praying pastor because of the intimidation tactics that he uses. Some of you are saying to yourself, how come she won't say she? Because you need to read the word. I understand there are women who call themselves pastors, but there are also women that call themselves models. You don't want to get into it tonight. I'm not here for. There are also women who say that they have an inner Beyonce. Do you really want to get into the psychosis of things? I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with being a motivational speaker. There's nothing wrong with being, doing things that are proper. But yes, there is a fine line. And when you cross that line, it is what it is. Moving forward, some of you are saying, well, I know that I've been called to preach. Listen, we all have to understand that there is something called being called out of darkness and into his marvelous light. So, hey, you have to understand sometimes when getting a call, you need to make sure that you have good reception. So you will be able to hear exactly what the caller is saying. You don't want to get into it. Okay, moving forward, brothers and sisters. Yeah, it's going to be one of those episodes because I'm not the one. I'm not the one. I have experienced a lot from a low vibrating and a high vibrating energy when it comes to being in the church and also being around people and also having a family on my father's side who is, connected deeply to the church. So I am aware of a lot. Just like some of you are. Some of you right now are saying, never again will I ever go back. And you know why? Because it was warfare. Because you just came there just to get your soul right. Next thing you know, you ran into some niggas. You ran into some witches, some warlocks, some demons, some goblins. You ran into the praying pastor. And it was a lot of chaos. And that's not what you were seeking. You were seeking solitude, harmony, peace, tranquility. You were looking for teaching because you had been in darkness. You had been in the pit. Now you've been called out of the pit, you've been saved, and you're just working out your soul salvation, and you believe that this is the church that you were led to, but you got in there and it was a lot of just, it was just some things that just did not line up right with what your soul was telling you and what the word was telling you. And it's easy to get lost in the sauce. It's easy to, you know that something isn't right, but not have the courage to say something because you are afraid of the backlash. You're afraid to be an outcast, pariah, blackballed from the church. You're afraid that, it'll be you against them, and, just the outcomes. There's a lot that goes on, but as you grow and mature, you know that, the Lord just starts to show you things and press upon you and give you dreams. And as you continue to seek the Most High God, and you are seeking Him not just on Sunday and not just on Saturday, you're not seeking Him just on a Wednesday. You are literally seeking Him day in and day out, right? And now you're so hungry for the word that you can't wait just for Wednesday or Sunday. You're feeding yourself now because you are gaining an appetite. And in that appetite, the Lord is speaking to you. And then you go to church one day and the Lord shows you something that isn't right. And you cannot ignore it. And the one thing that you may have the one up on of the rest of the congregation is that some of them are not reading. Some of them are literally pretenders. So now you're in a sitting amongst the congregation of who's who, right? What's what? Where am I? Who are these people? For real, for real. And when you come in with your light and the preacher is dark and there are, let's say 90% of the congregation is dark, or even maybe 98% of the congregation is dark, whew, here's the warfare. And you are going to be attacked because of your gifts, your light, everything about you. You will run into some jealous women and some jealous men. And you'll be like, damn, why are these people jealous of me? Why are they coming at me? Even the pastor may be jealous of you because of the insight, the downloads. Some of you know more than the pastor that's preaching to you. And that's real talk. Some of you have never been to seminary. Some of you have never gone to Bible college or anything of the sort. But you have downloads, wisdom, and just insight that you didn't have to pay for. You didn't have to fake fall out for. You didn't have to do none of that putting on any type of performing arts. You literally have been chosen. You literally have been saved. You literally have been redeemed. And the Most High God has given you wisdom that man could not give you, that you could not sit in any class and pay for. And you know more than some of the pastors that profess to be mega preachers walking around, because a lot of what they're teaching is nothing but repetitive. It's repetitive. I know you're like, is that the cops at my house? That is the sound effects in the background, y'all. That is just sound effects. I know some of you are like, wait, hold up, put that out. No, seriously, that's just sound effects. Be easy, Tiger. But seriously, some of you have encountered some demonic activity at the church. Some of you have even been approached by the pastor in a sexual manner. Some of you may have even laid with the pastor. Some of you may have even been a fan of the pastor. I don't know what your level of involvement is. Only you do, and the Most High God. But the praying pastor is a problem in every community, small or big church. It's a problem, and they should not be in the pulpit. They shouldn't be on TV. They should not be going live. They shouldn't be doing any of what they're doing because they're playing with fire. They're literally in lava, taking the word and making a profit off of it. A prophet for a prophet. I wrote a whole poem about that called A Prophet for a Prophet. And the problem is, the lengths that they will go to take the word and pervert it and twist it in order to brainwash, manipulate, and hypnotize people who don't know any better. The praying pastor, demonic activity, murder in the ministry. Some will go that far, and some have. You'll listen tonight to these clips and you'll see, for fair use. I'll see you on the other side of these clips. It's real in the field. I thought you knew that, though.
Wife are under investigation by local and state authorities after fire responders discovered elderly people locked inside the basement of their home. As Fox 5's Doug Evans reports, that pastor is charged with false imprisonment as the investigation continues.
From outward appearances, everything seems perfectly normal at this Griffin home on Valley Road. Neighbors tell Fox 5 the house had unusually large amounts of trash to pick up, but everything else appeared okay.
Things seemed generally fine. Have not noticed anything, like I said, other than the trash.
Griffin police say they've arrested Curtis Bankston, the homeowner, who they say is a local pastor at a church called One Step of Faith Second Chance. He's accused of false imprisonment. First responders were called to the home last Thursday because of a person having a seizure. EMS says they discovered 8 individuals locked in the basement against their will in what state investigators now say was an unlicensed care home. Police say Bankston and his wife had control of the individual's finances and medications. State investigators have been called in because of what police deemed neglect and abuse that they say was both frightening and disgusting. Apparently, the residents weren't always locked in. Kim Brooks says she recently assisted one of them.
The individual that was lost was an elderly man, and he was on a walker, pushing a walker, and so he's trying to manage, and it's at night, so he's trying to manage being able to see where he's going, and the streets can get kind of dark, and so I just used my flashlight, and we just walked together down to the house, and I showed him where it was.
No charges have been filed against the pastor's wife. Police say the investigation is continuing. In Griffin, Doug Evans, Fox 5 News.
Was broke. The church was just flat broke.
And now some Dallas church members say that they have figured out why their church was struggling financially.
That is where we begin tonight. I'm Kaylee O'Kelly.
And I'm Doug Dunbar. From shopping sprees and liquor purchases to car repairs, even hotel stays, we were first to tell you about the felony theft arrest of Dallas pastor Wade Davis. Now tonight, we've learned he's accused of pocketing $500,000 of the church's money. J.D. Miles starts us off live at Munger Avenue Baptist Church, where members tonight are speaking out. J.D.?
Doug, from this historical marker, you can see this church is 123 years old, but just in the last year, the church's pastor has been accused of embezzling over $500,000 and locking out lifelong members from the building who started asking questions about the church's finances.
No, I can't even get in. It's locked. That's not my church.
Erica Williams says the locks were changed on the doors to Munger Avenue Baptist Church when members started looking into why the 123-year-old house of worship was running out of money.
Was broke. The church was just flat broke.
Longtime member Richard Greger examined finances inside the historically black church last year and says what he found was unimaginable.
There were liquor purchases and in-town hotel stays and shopping sprees.
Greger and authorities accused Pastor Wade Davis of funneling as much as $500,000 to a personal account from a church annuity fund he wasn't supposed to have access to. He was indicted last week for felony theft and has been released on a $10,000 bond.
It was like a gut punch. I mean, it was absolutely heart-wrenching.
Williams says the depleted fund was meant for repairs to the church and programs to help addicts and the needy. But a year before his arrest, Davis, who was hired in 1998, denied the allegation in a letter to the congregation, saying, "I am not guilty of committing any crime. I have not broken any laws." Members say the pastor then moved into the church and changed the locks to drive away his critics who have been meeting for months at a funeral home, while Davis was still preaching here last Sunday to a handful of loyal supporters. But he faces a civil lawsuit from those longtime members who want to drive him from the pulpit so they can return.
My personal goal is that we can get back in this church before Easter this year.
The 65-year-old pastor did not return our calls for comment. If convicted, he could face between 5 and 99 years in prison.
Noon today, a local pastor arrested on charges of child molestation and sexual assault. Roy Bolden, tall man dressed in the black shirt here, was arrested last night. A judge ordered him held without bail this morning. Providence police tell us the allegations came from a young man who said he's been preyed upon for a long time.
We are investigating Mr. Bolden's background, his past history. We are, looking ahead and checking to see if we have any other victims. We are very thankful that Mr. Bolden is locked up now.
Police say Bolden is listed as a leader at the Legion of Christ Ministries Church on Broad Street in Providence. He's due back in court later this month.
Details about a pastor accused of raping a teenager and the investigation into possibly more victims. ABC Action News reporter Clifton French live outside of In My Father's House Baptist Church on East Lake Avenue. And Cliff, you learned that this pastor is also a teacher?
Yeah, this pastor, he's been here, according to parishioners, that he's been here for 6 or 7 years. He's the pastor here, but we're also learning that he's been a teacher with Hillsborough Community College for more than a decade. The details of the case too disturbing to repeat.
Threatened her not to tell an adult.
The Tampa police report describing a 63-year-old man forcing himself on a teenaged girl.
In this case, it seems very clear that the teen definitely resisted and made it very clear to him that what he was doing was wrong.
The man accused is not only the longtime pastor of a local church, David Carson is also a longtime math teacher at Hillsborough Community College, both positions of authority over young people, both now under the microscope of detectives.
We always check into that to see if this is not an isolated circumstance.
Tonight we know the crime he's being charged with didn't happen at the church and did not involve one of his students. While police say there's no evidence that he's done this to anyone else, the investigation tonight continues. I think it's also important to add that another adult did witness at least a part of this alleged attack. Hillsborough Community College, meanwhile, tells me they fired Carson as soon as they discovered this arrest. I'm reporting live in Tampa tonight. Clifton French, ABC Action News.
Information tonight about what led up to last week's murder of a pastor at Mississippi Boulevard Christian Church. Good evening, I'm Richard Ransom.
And I'm Katina Rankin. Police reports Scanner Traffic and friends of Pastor Broads Perry show a scorned mistress from Little Rock drove to Collierville over the man she loved. Local 24 News reporter Rebecca Butcher live with tonight's top story. Rebecca, you're reporting there from Collierville.
Yeah, Katina, well, that suspect, Latasha Daniels, she's expected here in Collierville Town Court tomorrow morning. We got a chance to speak today to a friend of the now deceased Pastor Perry. She went to Florida A&M University with him several years ago. She told me that the news today was hard to believe. That's a Collierville cop after arriving Thursday night at the Meridian Park Apartments. Executive Pastor Broads Perry was dying from 3 gunshot wounds. His wife was shot in the shoulder, and Latasha Daniels was holding a gun. We contacted one of Pastor Perry's friends in Florida.
I was, really sad, and I was like, not Broads. I'm like, he just moved. Didn't he just move to a new city? And
the couple did just move to Collierville from Little Rock. That's where Perry's wife now tells police she and her husband knew Daniels from and never suspected an affair until Thursday night. She says as Daniels showed up, had a short visit, began to leave, she grabbed her gun and started firing, shouting, "You broke my heart."
It appeared that they were from what the lady shared, that they had a relationship. And so I would say healing has to take place for the young lady who committed the crime and also for the wife.
Records show Daniels, a certified anger management specialist, was a member of Pastor Perry's former church in Little Rock. The two also worked together at a nonprofit.
And this was such a dramatic situation. And for her to find out this information or whatever this lady is saying while her husband is being killed, I could imagine how that, may feel.
And Daniels is expected here in court tomorrow. That's at 8 o'clock. She's being held without bond right now on murder charges. We're live tonight in Collierville. I'm Rebecca Butcher, Local 24 News.
Diana, what's so unusual about the case is that the victim says she felt so comfortable with the pastor. She had her over for dinner. She went to her church services, and then she says this happened.
I think she needs to be put under a prison. I think she's psychotic and a habitual liar. I think she's a wolf in sheep clothing.
She's talking about a woman named Stephen Caldwell of Inkster, who is charged tonight with criminal sexual conduct in the 1st and 3rd degree, that is rape. She's been bound over for trial.
I've been beaten in my face, and I was raped. My left side of my face was punched in, and my hair was pulled.
She says Caldwell is a gay pastor who she found through a gay church leader on Facebook. She says the attack happened after Caldwell gave her pills and alcohol. She says Caldwell came to her apartment a month later and confessed and apologized. She recorded it.
The only reason that you apologize is because you don't want to go to prison. No, it's not. I apologize.
I'm emotionally distraught, mentally shattered. I don't know who to trust. I know that I thank God for the prosecutor and them giving me legitimate referrals for counseling.
Now, Stephen Caldwell is free on a personal bond pending the trial, but she has been told by the judge to have no contact with the victim, and the victim also has a PPO against her. The victim says, though, she wants to put out a warning tonight. If you need any kind of help, if you need counseling, she says, go to a crisis center and not the internet. In Westland, I'm Cheryl Choden, 7 Action News.
Cheryl, is that recording going to be part of the trial?
Well, there is a chance that they could use part of that recording on the cell phone as part of the trial, and that's why we only played a very small part of it. But we heard the whole thing, and it clearly sounded like she did make admissions.
All right. Thank you, Cheryl.
His wife, his business partner, and a roommate, all people either murdered or who died mysteriously around a former pastor. Timothy Crumity is already in prison for murdering one man and nearly killing a woman, but now he's accused of murdering that woman's daughter.
And as Channel 9's Tina Terry explains, the case is far from over as investigators now dig into past cases to see if Crumity has gotten away with other murders, Tina.
Well, yes, the family of Anastasia Metters has some closure tonight, and her case may cause detectives within other agencies to take a closer look at older cases involving the former pastor.
I knew from the beginning that he did it. I knew when I heard that she got missing, that it was him.
Devonna Davidson, grateful that Timothy Crumity is now facing a murder charge in the death of her beautiful niece, Anastasia Metters. Family members told Charlotte police that Metters was missing in 2016, and they never saw her again.
And
around the same time, Crumity attacked and shot Metters' mother, Kim Cherry, and killed Cherry's boyfriend. He was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. Then last year, detectives found and identified Metters' remains in a wooded area in Iredell County. They quickly developed Crumity as a suspect and charged him this week.
It's definitely unusual in itself to have a person that's associated with this many deaths and this type of criminal history dating back many years.
Detectives say Crumity is a person of interest in other cases, and some agencies could take a second look at old death investigations he was connected to. In 2013, his wife Sharon and a man named James Banks were found in Crumity's home. He claimed Banks broke into the house, killed his wife, and he shot Banks during a scuffle. Crumity was never charged.
I hope he gets death penalty. I hope he suffers the same way that my family is suffering.
Yeah, and detectives here in Concord told me today that they believe that Crumity played a criminal role in both of the deaths that took place here. They are still working hard behind the scenes, but as of now, there are no pending charges against him. Back to you, Genevieve.
Tina, it sounds like families are looking for answers, and investigators certainly have their work cut out for them. Thank you, Tina. From murder charges tossed out to claims of self-defense, Channel 9 anchor Brittany Johnson has been tracking all of these mysterious cases that he's been connected to for 14 years.
For more than a decade, people have been dying around Timothy Crumedy. It all began in 2005. That's when he was charged with murdering a former business partner. He spent 5 years in prison, but charges were later dropped for lack of evidence. In 2013, he shot and killed James Blanks. He claimed self-defense, saying Blanks broke into his home and killed his wife. In 2014, he pleaded guilty to insurance fraud after setting his house on fire. And in 2016, he attacked and shot Anastasia Meter's mother and killed her boyfriend. And in 2018, a jury sentenced him to life behind bars for those crimes. And as Tina just mentioned, he is now also being charged with murdering Anastasia Meters. That is a total of 5 people killed and 1 shot, all who were near Crumedy at the time. We'll continue to follow every step in this investigation.
As you can only hope family members now have some sense of closure, knowing that they have some answers.
Hopefully investigators will be able to get to the bottom of it, definitely.
Yeah.
Small business owners.
Is New Life Impact Church right behind me. It's a place that claims to minister to the imperfect man. Now the man who runs it is in some big legal trouble.
How you buying a Bentley running the church?
At first, neighbors thought Reverend Clarence J. Smith Jr. was going to do something good for the block.
But then it started to kind of look iffy a little bit. You know, like he was coming around in Jordans and Bentleys and new cars. And I'm like, wait a minute, you know, pastors don't do that.
The 45-year-old has been indicted on federal charges, claiming he stole more than $800,000 from programs intended to feed kids who live in impoverished neighborhoods.
It's very sad and then do it in this community.
Court records allege he deposited checks into his own bank account, then used the money to buy a $142,000 Bentley like this one.
It's like, who can buy a Bentley?
Investigators say he tried to cover it up, claiming his financial records had been damaged in a flood. Smith, who posts a lot on social media about second chances and redemption, wasn't at his church Friday, but neighbors say he often sleeps there, though it doesn't hold services anymore. Questions still remain about how Smith was able to get the money in the first place. In 2011, he pleaded guilty to stealing $100,000 from an elderly man in DuPage County. Why federal authorities would then cut him $100,000 checks less than 5 years later is unclear.
If it's true, which I think that it is true, he needs to get whatever he deserves.
We reached out to Reverend Smith's lawyer today. He had no comment. We did hear back from the Illinois State Board of Education. They say he ran a daycare at this facility. That is why he was part of the food program. They noticed something was wrong back in 2016. They cut him off from the program, but by then he already owed $3.3 million. Reporting tonight in Lawndale, Megan Dwyer, WGN News.
It's even more beautiful.
A West Palm Beach pastor and his wife are behind bars accused of molesting children, and we've learned the couple runs a nonprofit aimed at helping teenagers. News Channel 5's Brian Nenton has been going over the police reports today, and he's in the feed room now with more. Brian?
Kelly, Pastor James Jackson and his wife Valerie, they're known in West Palm Beach for their nonprofit that helps teenagers. They even have a conference coming up later this month, according to a flyer, to help with couples therapy. Well, likely that conference will not be happening because now they are both in jail accused of abusing children.
This is Senior Pastor James S. Jackson. His bio online says he's devoted most of his time and energy to being an ear for youth. The bio also says he and his wife, First Lady Valerie Jackson, do couples therapy and help marriages reach their potential. Now they're behind bars at the Palm Beach County Jail. James Jackson charged with sexual battery on children, and his wife Valerie is charged with lewd and lascivious behavior involving children. Pastor Jackson runs this nonprofit called Positive Habitat Aspiring Teens. I spoke to the chairman of the board of the organization who said he was shocked to learn of Jackson's arrest. The couple's neighbors say they saw crime scene units at the house, but never expected these kinds of charges. Therapists at Palm Beach County Victim Services say they are not surprised by cases like this.
We're not seeing the stranger danger like we used to see years ago. What's happening now are people that are in these authoritative roles, protective roles for children, are taking advantage of them, and they're the ones who we're seeing who are predatory against these children.
So right now, no bond for this couple as they remain behind bars at the Palm Beach County Jail. If you have any information that might help police with this investigation, make sure to call investigators at West Palm PD. In the feed room, Brian Enton, WPTV News Channel 5.
New at 6, we're learning a little bit more about the investigation into the murder of a Western Michigan University student, Anaya Mack.
Police reports reveal that her boyfriend says his motive for killing her involves her relationship with a prominent pastor who is also the president of the NAACP, Strickland. 24-hour News 8's Heather Walker has been going through the reports. She joins us live with what she's learned now. Heather?
Well, the Reverend Strickland, he denies the allegations that he had a romantic relationship with Mack. However, in the police report, it does say that Strickland did, however, contact police about the release of a white Chevy Malibu that was claimed as evidence in the investigation to Mack's death. Now, Strickland said the car belonged to his wife in those reports. Also, according to the report, Mack was part of the choir at Second Baptist Church where Strickland preached. Mack's boyfriend, Lewis, told police the couple got into an argument over her growing relationship with the Reverend, which led up to the murder. The report states that Lewis said he knew Strickland was allowing Mack to borrow his car, but didn't know about the relationship until he grew suspicious when Strickland started stopping by their apartment to pick up Mack more often. Lewis goes on to tell investigators in that report that Mack told him that the Reverend had threatened her. Lewis did not give details about how she was threatened to police, but in that report, it says that the threats were a result of Mack saying she was going to tell people about her relationship with Strickland. Lewis also stated in that interview that once he learned about their relationship, he'd been having, quote, some of the most violent dreams he had ever had, unquote. Now, we did go by the Reverend's home today to hear his response to the allegations. We were told he was out of town, but he did speak to us over text saying it's untrue, saying he had not seen this report, but points out that the information in the report came from the suspect, who is also using an insanity defense. And he added that, quote, I'm trying to be sensitive to the fact that Anaya is possibly not the only life that was lost, but this young man deserves for his family to be given some time to quote as well. Now, Mack's mom also commented. We reached out to her by telephone. She recently moved back to Michigan in order to be present for all the court hearings in this case. She says she also has not seen these reports, but she doesn't care what kind of motive that alleges in there. She says there is no justification for killing her daughter. Reporting live in the Kalamazoo studio, Heather Walker, 24-hour News 8.
Brotherhood, sisterhood, leadership. Those are the qualities that you were looking for when you were joining, not humiliation. The latest episode of The Culture Climate on the Sister Speak show is available on demand now. Rated R for strong content, language, and thoughts on this episode. Death before degree, hazing in fraternities and sororities. On The Culture Climate, we're covering what others are afraid to cover in the village, including controversial conversations, taboo subject matters, addressing the inner me's, exposing the enemies, interviews, audio from video clips, international, national, local news affecting the village. Click the link for the latest episode on the Sister Speak show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action, a talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Remember, you don't have to die to belong. There won't be any more warnings. That's why your heart is beating fast. He's out there again. You can see him from the stage. He's obsessed with you. That's why he's taking your pictures. You're his fantasy. The latest episode of the Suspense Files on the Sister Speak show is available on demand now. Rated R for strong content, language, and thoughts on this episode. Fantasies and felonies. Strip club killers. On the Suspense Files, we cover the who, what, when, where, why in urban crime, including crimes of passion, deadly relationships, mysteries, urban cold cases, and more. Click the link for the latest episode of the Sister Speak show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action, a talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Be careful. Try not to fall in love with a stripper. There are some gender reveals that reveal more than just the gender. They can reveal the agenda of a predator. The latest episode of the Suspense Files is available on demand now. The insanity that rocks the cradle. The pregnancy predator. On the Suspense Files, we're covering the who, what, when, where, why in urban crime, including crimes of passion, deadly relationships, mysteries, urban cold cases, and more. Click the link in the bio for the latest episode on the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. Rated R for strong content, thoughts, and ideas. Welcome back. You are listening to the Suspense Files on the Sister Speak Show, covering the who, what, when, where, why in urban crime. Brothers and sisters, you just listened to the clips for fair use. And I know you are appalled. You should be, because there was not one clip that was light in the energy. Everything was low vibrating. It takes a lot of unrighteous courage to defraud people by using the word of God, and to scam people, to lure people in, to deceive. And you listen to the clips. It is one thing to literally be called, and it's another thing not to be called. And if you have been called, all praises. But if you have not been called, I would strongly advise that you suddenly go out of business. Just, decline yourself. Reject yourself. Pink slip yourself from the pulpit, the hotel conference room, or wherever you are. You're live, wherever you're at, doing this, performing. You need to stop. And this is ridiculous because, there we go. Wait a minute. Hold on, y'all. Okay. You are in peril, and you're putting people in peril. Now, I understand free will, but we have to understand many are deceived. Many are led astray. There are false prophets, and false prophets are exactly that. They say that they have been told one thing, and the people believe it, but they have not been told anything at all. As a matter of fact, there is no connection. There's only manipulation and deception. So there's an energy that they're tapping into to deceive the people, whether it be, a lot of people or a little bit of, or a small amount of people in the congregation, in the following. The deception is abundant. The praying is abundant. We are to watch and pray. We are to be sober and vigilant. We are to be aware of the lion who seeks to destroy, the dark one, the devil, who comes in many shapes, forms, and sizes to deceive people, whether it be on a micro level or a macro level. And one of the oldest professions that people would tap into, and I say it's a profession when you are playing a game, is preaching along with pimping. And sometimes you kind of don't know which one is which. But there's a lot of fuckery going on in the pulpit, and you only notice it when you have been awakened, when you come forth, when your mind is renewed, when you actually have discernment and wisdom to know that there's something really off with this pastor. There's something off with this ministry, this congregation. This energy is odd. And then you finally find out what it is. And sometimes, like I said before, you can get caught up and you can want to make sure the pastor notices you or is proud of the work that you're doing for the Lord and for the kingdom, in the church. You want recognition, and sometimes you can cross the line in seeking approval and end up being a kiss ass, a yes man, a yes woman, as I mentioned before. I'm going to talk about these clips, and I'm going to continue to definitely counter this demonic energy, because the last thing you need in this world, which is so corrupt, the last thing you need is to think that you have found peace, you have found a church home, and that this is the place that you are supposed to be. And then you wake up and you either look on social media or the news and your pastor's on the news because of the fuckery. I'm just saying, it happens daily, if not daily, weekly. Okay? Okay. I have the issue with these pastors hiding people in the basement. I think it's rather unrighteous that this would even take place. But yet and still, there are some people who are good at being bad, if that makes any sense. And they do bad really well, to the point to where they know who to target, who to prey upon, who to ambush, and to who to deceive with twisting the word of the Most High God, and then using that twist in order to hook unknowing victims, unsuspecting victims, victims that don't really have fighting power, don't have maybe the mental capacity to be aware that this is a wolf in sheep's clothing. And it's only a matter of time when mocking God catches up with you. Plain. Because the Most High God never played about his ministry and his mission, and he never preyed upon people as he was walking, talking, healing, revealing, setting free the people. When he would preach, people would listen. Yes, there was opposition. Yes, there were those who tried to question and all of that, the haters, the footstools, the demonic people. But he was perfect in his ministry. Now, I understand we're not perfect people, yet we are supposed to be righteous people. Okay? So in that, what he did is the blueprint, is the model, is what any man should strive to be like, as far as the example of how to walk with the gospel and how to share it with people, and how not to hold people past their time, how not to form a cult, but to have a following, because what you are leading the people into is the land of upright, because you are not sitting there screaming and hollering at the top of your lungs, sweating, and having a service that's 10 hours and yet and still there's no deliverance. It's not about the performing aspect of it. If you're going to perform in the church, please perform miracles, healing. And when I say perform miracles, no, you're not a miracle. You can't give the miracles, but you can definitely teach people to believe in miracles, that the Most High God is the one who performs, does all the performing. And when he performs, it's not to deceive, it's to glorify. And I believe many of the pastors and the preachers who say that they are pastors, or they've been called, the ones who play around with it, it's a demonic energy. it's the demon that's in them, because you can't justify hiding those people in the basement and taking their assets, their funds, and just leaving them in filth and disgust. And there's no scripture that you could ever point to in the Most High God's word that would ever justify that. You must hate God to play. When you play and when you pray, you're saying, I hate God. I am so, it is making me believe that you're on the outside and you've been cast out. That's what it's looking like. Then you have the 63-year-old man forcing himself on a 14-year-old. Not only was he a pastor, he was a teacher, and he attacked this 14-year-old girl. The unbalanced energies will get you every time. We are all susceptible to making horrible decisions in a low vibrating energy, in a nasty energy, in a tainted energy. A lot of times people who are unsaved, who are demonic, who are terrorists, who are dark, who are agents of the dark one, a lot of times they hide behind community jobs. It's easy to blend into a community where you are helping the community. So nobody would ever suspect that such and such could do this because he's such a great teacher, he or she is, they're volunteering here and there. There's so many, I just couldn't believe it, because they are masquerading by like code switching and camouflaging themselves into jobs that make them look good, that present a false sense of being good. So you'll never be able to suspect the praying. And a 63-year-old man on a 14-year-old girl, that's a lot. And he's a big man. And I'm looking at his, I was watching the video. He's a big man, so you already know to have to try to fight somebody off like that, that takes a lot. Women, women don't have the physical strength to fight a man unless there's some type of adrenaline. Now, when you are fighting for your life, you are able to do things that you normally might not be able to do without that adrenaline rush. But to have a 63-year-old man on top of a 14-year-old girl attacking her, what could she do? And now we have to deal with, is there any counseling going to be available for her so she can relearn that it's not God who did it? Not to hate God, not to never want to tap into her spirituality, okay? It's bigger than just what we are hearing. It's the after effect. It's the emotional effect, okay? It's the nightmares. It's the not being able to sleep, okay? It is the anxiety that develops. And then this man having this unbalanced energy where he is saying, I can take my power, even though it's pseudo power, lowercase power, and I can use it, and I can take advantage of the weak because I am in stature and in status. And nobody will suspect me. It'll be my word against hers because I've built up this false reputation and I'm good with so many people and I'm laughing and talking with the principal. So it's probably looking like I might get away with it, but he didn't. And I personally, nobody wants somebody that old on top of them unless you're in that age group. Like for the age that I am, there's no way, shape, or form I would ever connect with a 63-year-old. So I can, it's gross for me to be with somebody who I know I would not be physically attracted to, okay? We have our choice and our preference. So I can only, it's kind of like when not kind of like, it's when, I can think about it when, on The Color Purple, when Mr. was on top of Celie, and she was like 14, and he was a grown man, and it was disgusting, and he was just, she said he just gets on top of me and do his business. It feels like he's going to the toilet on me. And he was just abusing her, you know, and it was just, the energies were unmatched, and it wasn't supposed to happen like that. You want to be intimate with your choice, with the consent, you know, with the mutual understanding that this is a peaceful interaction of intimacy, not to be forced and preyed upon. Then, you know, with the praying pastor being the focus of this episode, you move on to Mississippi Boulevard Baptist Church in Arkansas, and you have Latasha Daniels, who's had an affair with Broadus Perry. And she drove to Collierville and shot and killed Broadus Perry, shot his wife in the shoulder. And before doing so, she said, "You broke my heart." And Latasha was an anger management counselor. You know, it's never going to ever end well when you cheat, when you have an affair. It doesn't matter what you do. This is just a general statement and a general fact. And when you abuse your power, you get to thinking that this is your opportunity to prey upon the women in the congregation. You know, it is dangerous because the outcome you never anticipate. You know it's wrong, you're supposed to, but you still just cannot say no to it. No party can say no, the pastor or the third party. And the wife, either she has suspicions or she doesn't. And to find out that your husband's been having an affair on you right when he's being murdered is a lot to take in, don't you think? Don't you think that's fucked up? Malicious? Dangerous? I don't think people understand, like, you are putting your spouse in danger when you have an affair. There's not enough sex in the world for you to ever justify the danger and the immaturity that comes with you only thinking about yourself and that third party. Your spouse is unknowing, believing that you're going where you're going, doing what you're doing, and because you're a pastor, your schedule is busy, allegedly. So it makes sense that you're going to be here, there, and everywhere, and and I may not see you, but at least you're coming home to me? We can't be justifying this shit. Women, there comes a point in time where you know what the fuck is going on. What are you going to do about it? It should not be, brothers, that your side chick comes to the door and kills you, shoots you, attempts to, and your wife, or hires a hitman, or tries to run you over because, according to Latasha, Broadus Perry, you broke her heart, which means she was involved deeply, and so were you. Because if you're breaking somebody's heart, that means we're intimate. You're telling me sweet nothings. You are making me feel like I'm your woman, you married the wrong woman, and you're going to leave your wife. You're telling me all these things just so you can keep having sex with me. It's a low vibrating, juvenile, delinquent game that many are playing at this very moment as you listen to the episode. And it's tragic because it's embarrassing to have to find out that your spouse is cheating and then you're in the public eye. You're professing the word of the Most High God every Wednesday and any other day and Sunday. You're doing all of this, and behind the closed doors in your counseling session, you're off the chain. That's fucked up. You can't never make that make sense. And you're a predator. You're preying upon whoever you choose to, because you can feel the energy. You know who wants you. You can see the eyes from the congregation. You can tell the way they look at you, the way they dress, the way everything. It's an energy. That Jezebel spirit is real, and it is in every church. And it is strong in a man and in a woman. There are men who will do anything to get next to the pastor and have done anything to get next to the pastor. Preying upon the men and the women. Out of control, no balance in the energy at all. This woman was an anger management counselor and forgot every fucking last one of the steps. All them sessions was out of the window. No, fuck that. Nope, threw the whole binder out the window. She threw the t-shirt, the whistle, the hat. She threw the curriculum. She deleted the whole anger management app off the phone and said, I am going to tell this man and show this man that he broke my heart, and you don't break my heart. And true, you're not supposed to break somebody's heart. However, we know that the Most High God is a heart fixer. Broken hearts will happen because people enter into dangerous liaisons, entering into a church for their own reasons. This woman was shot in the shoulder by her husband's mistress. Every one of you brothers who are cheating on your wife, you need to listen to the vent session part 1 and part 2 about cheating. Listen, you're leading yourself to the guillotine every single time. And you think you're so player, and you think you're so smooth, and you think everybody wants you. Everybody doesn't want you. You don't even want yourself, because if you did, you wouldn't be giving so much of yourself away. Don't fuck with me. I'm serious about this. Your penis is out of control, and so is your pulpit, and so are the pews. What's going on? What's going on with these counseling sessions, allegedly? You're not counseling. You're fucking, and there's a problem. Oh, sister, speak. Yeah, come on, let's not play games. You know what do you think they're doing? If you broke my heart is not something that is not tied, that this is tied into intimacy, penetration, lies, and believing them. And she's just as guilty. She knew he had a wife. They're both guilty. This is an instance where she knew he was married. Pastor Caldwell, a gay pastor, committed 1st and 3rd degree rape by giving pills and getting her victim out of her right mind. The victim met the pastor on Facebook at a gay church. She was seeking counseling and thought that the internet would give her some solace on Facebook, and that's how she got caught up. And this woman raped this woman. Now listen. The energies are out of control. And people are seeking a nut through deception. If you got to do all that just to have what you consider sexual satisfaction, you're suffering from demonic activity. That is ridiculous to me. You know, to have to fight a man off of you is one thing. Then to have to fight a woman off of you, shit, it's a long day. And the woman that this pastor who did the raping, this is yeah. She wasn't gonna blow away in the wind. No, ma'am, she was built big. She was big. And when you are vulnerable, you are susceptible to the dark one and his many wicked practices. And you may think that this is the right place for you. And why not so? They've done such a great job putting on an act, making you be like, this is the church home. We want to welcome you and thank you for coming to such and such church. This is the place for you to grow. We're building the kingdom. I mean, you fell for everything. You fell for everything. And next thing you know, the pastor's lights are on. The church lights are on. But you're having to make a payment arrangement because you're about to be disconnected. You're giving your last dime and you're hungry. When you're vulnerable and when you're taught little bits of the word and then you're being taught in such a way, it leaves you trapped and you think you're doing the right thing. I know. I've been there before. But I've been set free. And I can only imagine what it would be like to have to wake up having been slipped a roofie, so to speak, allegedly, in order to, and then know that this woman, I've been taken advantage of by a woman. I done had a woman try to come after me, and it's not okay. Sheesh. It is not okay. Like, this lady literally chased me around the office. I had to take the phone off the hook and swing the shit so the bitch would leave me alone. And I use that word when I'm serious. I don't use it unless I'm not being serious. But yeah, I was a young girl. I was in my 20s, barely. And this woman tried to come for me, and she was gay. And she would not stop. And she thought that because my boss was out of the office, it was a perfect opportunity for her to run up on me. And bitch, no. It's just not going to happen at all, you know. And it is frightening to be in any position where you're going for one thing and you end up blindsided by somebody's malicious intent, okay? And I thank God that that phone was there. And back in the day when I was working, we're talking about the phones that, you know, we ain't talking about no cordless. We're talking about with the cord. So I was able to swing it, and she knew to leave me the fuck alone. She was going to catch the whole phone. The whole phone, the receiver, the part that you put your ear, all of that shit was going to knock her all the way loose. It was horrible, y'all. It was horrible. So it is very dangerous when you seek groups thinking that this is your tribe, this is your community, only to be led astray. There's so many people right now on social media that are part of communities that mean them no good. And these communities say that they're biblical, say that they're spiritual, say that they are, you know, representing the Most High God, say that they are the church where you can come and be yourself and we'll take care of you and we'll help you grow. And that's just not the case. These are predators. These are predators, y'all. Timothy Crumity, former pastor. They've been looking at him for about 14 years. Murdered Anastasia Metters killed her boyfriend in 2016. They just found her body in the woods. They found her remains in the woods in 2016. His wife was shot and killed. He said that James Banks allegedly shot and killed his wife. Immediately when I heard that story, I thought of insurance. I really think that he hired James to kill his wife, and in turn, to keep it a secret, turned around and killed James and collected on that policy. He claims it was self-defense, but just from his criminal background, it sounds pretty typical that he was doing something that he had no business doing, and that he that sounds like an alleged murder for hire plot, where in the end, the money that was promised allegedly to James Banks never made it to his hands because he needed somebody to do his dirty work. This sounds like a psychopath. This sounds like somebody who has studied some form of how to get away with murder, has done some type of research to where he barely escapes that fine line of being found out until he got. I mean, you're gonna slip along the way, but 14 years, he's been getting away with some shit. He's definitely been getting away with some shit. And then you see that he had an insurance fraud, fired to the house, off the chain. Greed. It's that money. It's the energy of money, having to have it and willing to do some foul, fucked up things in order to get it. And never, and most of the time, never even being able to enjoy it. And they, he was in 2005, he went to jail for allegedly murdering his former business partner, but they let him go because there wasn't enough evidence. So this guy has been demonic for a while. And you have to ask yourself, what the fuck is going on with Timothy Crumpety? And we need to make sure that we don't run into any type of Timothy Crumpeties, but there's a lot of them out there. He finally got caught. But the trail of tears is what is so disheartening, which is so sad, because a lot of times people let their guard down when they find out that somebody is a pastor or a preacher. They let their guard down. Come over, I'll make you some Salisbury steak and some asparagus and some garlic mashed potatoes with some garlic bread and some iced tea. I'll also be providing you some ice cream and some apple pie. Like, they want the pastor to come over. They want to be friends. And next thing you know, the pastor got you folded up in the washing machine. What scripture is this? When the Lord said I would be made clean, he did not mean this, sir. Wait a minute. Shit. I'm telling you now, the energy that this man has is terrifying. He is without any second thought. Everything is spontaneous. Even though there's premeditation here, he is spontaneous in the fact that he even would think that this is what he needs to do in order to do this. Yeah, it is a cold world out here. A cold world. And you think that you're marrying somebody who is righteous, a godly man. That's what all these sisters say. I want me a man of God. Listen. You need to be more specific in your prayers, okay? Because just because he puts man of God, or because she puts woman of God on her profile, that doesn't mean a damn thing. And you better know that. Girl, he got man of God on his thing. Click. How you doing? Oh, girl, he is a pastor. I've always wanted to be a first lady. My big mama told me I was born to be a first lady. Girl. Sis. Female. The fuck. Listen. You're giving sisters like me a bad name. Because there are women out here who do think. Okay? I don't want men to think that women don't think. There are women who think. You're making us women look like we don't think. This is not okay. You need to quit clicking. Matter of fact, you need to delete your profile. Because you know what's going to happen? You're going to click, be baited, and hopefully you'll be able to escape whatever he plans on doing. That's the easiest line in the book because he knows that's what you're looking for. And you said that you've always wanted to be a first lady? Of what? The first lady to do what? I'm just asking. You want to be the what? A first lady to do what? Of what? For what? What will that do for you? Only to end up with a praying pastor. And he may not pray upon you, but you may be coaxed into his fuckery. Okay? Like Sharon and James, like, hold on, what's his name? Like James and Valerie Jackson. We gonna get to them. You may be cool now and be a cool sister. Then you get with this demon. Next thing you know, you're sleeping upside down. He's sleeping upside down. Okay? You're urinating on fire hydrants and trees, demonic dog activity. You're preying upon the congregation, and now you're just like him. You're doing some fucked off shit because all you wanted to be was the first lady. You think it's all about the hat, the outfit. Well, that's, I mean, depending on what, wherever you're living geographically, it's about, you think it's about the outfit, the look, the gifts, the people wanting to be around you, the adornment, the spotlight. That's what you're looking for, the attention. Attention whore. You want that image. And it's dangerous to be vain. That vanity is a motherfucker. And you need to be careful. Very careful. Because aspirations that are not godly, where you just want to be seen, puts you in the guillotine. Because you're playing. What are you going to say? I've been called to be a first lady. God doesn't call women to be first ladies in that capacity. What are we doing here? He calls you to be a wife. What is this about? Because there's so many churches that are functioning under this vanity. And there are women who will stop at nothing to be the first lady. And the moment that the pastor finally picks who he wants, even though he's running through all y'all, because he's running through all y'all. All of y'all. There's not one that he's not. All. All of y'all running through. You're not the only one. You're not the only some. He's taken everybody down. And the next level to down is hell. And it's a trail of tears where you're in love with this man because it's the energy. You never thought that this pastor would have sex with you. Shit, he's a dog. He's going to. And if he's a predator, yeah, the chances are you could end up in that situation. And now you're emotionally committed. And it's not a good emotional commitment that you have. And you will stop at nothing to be the first lady. And then here you are, you're fresh off of an affair with the pastor, and you're going to church that Sunday, and you've got to see his wife. And you've got this, you're my little secret fucking attitude, energy about your ass, Betty White cleanup woman ass, it's morning, Shirley Murdoch ass, here you are, just in bliss. In bliss, full of skeet. Just out of pocket. And now he can barely preach. Because you won't stop staring. Because he's uncomfortable. And when you see the first lady, you feel in your heart that should be your position. Wow. Clarence J. Smith Jr., all he wanted was the Bentleys and the Jordans. We're just going to keep it short and sweet. I know how I'm going to get me a Bentley. I'm going to pretend I'm a pastor. Yeah. I'm going to write a loan. Yeah. I'm going to say I got a program. Yeah. I'm going to pretend like I care about the people for sure. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this move. Boom. Put it in my account. Boom. Then I'm going to go get me a $142,000 Bentley. And I'm going to shit on these niggas. Look, listen, people use the pulpit for horrible reasons. And at this point in time in your life, if all you want in life is to get a Bentley, and if all you think in life is the only way you can get a Bentley is by becoming a pulpit predator, then shame on you. Okay? Shame on you. It takes a lot of nerve to intentionally set a goal to disappoint people, to lead people away from seeking the truth of the Most High God. There's a lot of damage control and a lot of purging and energy clearing and cleansing that one has to do, because a lot of people have never come back to the church, in a sense of that some of them have even stopped believing in the Most High God and Yah, because of the praying pastor, because of the pulpit predator, because of the predators in the pews, because y'all fucking dropped the ball when it came to being a hospital. We'll be right back after these commercial breaks. Sometimes you don't know who you're sleeping with. Sometimes you don't even know what you're getting yourself into. All you know is that you have to have it, and you have to have it right now. The latest episode of the Suspense Files on the Sister Speak Show is available on demand now. On this episode, we're covering sex and murder, sleeping with the setup chick. Rated R for strong content and language. On the Suspense File, we cover the who, the what, the when, the where, and the why in urban crime. From crimes of passion, deadly relationships, mysteries, and urban cold cases, and more. You won't be disappointed. On the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action, a talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Click the link for the latest episode. And be careful. When it comes to being a rap lyricist, what sets you apart is your ability to be able to freestyle on demand. If you can't freestyle, you can't rap. The latest episode of the Tour on the Sister Speak Show is available on demand now. In this episode, beatdowns versus bars, when freestyle battles turn violent. Rated R for strong content and language. On the tour, we cover all aspects of the music industry, focusing on musicians, managers, songwriters, producers, music groups, DJs, with exclusive music as well as concert reviews and IG Live concerts and interviews. On the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Go ahead and click the link for the latest episode. What's the point of putting on a bonnet if it's not going to stay on my head? I'm tired of it slipping off and waking up to it the next day. There has to be a better bonnet for me that's stylish and stays on. Oh, child. Ooh, it's the pillow for me. I'm just going to have to sleep pretty. This last shift took me all the way out.
I'm going to get a bonnet tomorrow. I can't wait. I'm going to ask Mommy if I can get one for my bear, too. Just as soon as I wake up from my nap.
It's time to sleep pretty and protected with these stylish Mommy and Me bonnets available now at kklachey.com. These Mommy and Me bonnets are available in stock and ready for you to maintain your crown. KK Lachey is a look, feel, and vibe. You're able to shop these products and more when you go to the website. It's time to shop and chill with kklachey.com. Slingshot season. This is Sister Speak with a word of encouragement. Spiritual warfare is real, and it is slingshot season. That's right. You are prepared for this. It is time for you to defeat the bears, the lions, and the giants in your life. You are stronger than what you think, and when you are chosen, you are anointed. No longer can you operate in the spirit of fear, and no longer can your boundaries be attacked. Carnal weapons produce carnal results. Spiritual weapons produce spiritual results. Get your smooth stones and your slingshot ready, because being victorious and more than a conqueror is a part of your lineage. Because our cousin David was about that life. Your enemy's plans are deterred, decapitated, and destroyed. Be encouraged. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. This is Sister Speak with a word of encouragement. No matter what the enemy or enemies try to do to you, God will cause their plans to take no effect, and the pit that they dig for you, they shall fall in. If God be for you, who can be against you? Now say it with me. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Be encouraged. It's time to podcast and chill with the Sister Speak Show, where contemporary meets vision, sound, and action. A talk show for great minds that create, inspire, impact, and evolve. Welcome back. You are listening to the Suspense Files. I am your host, Sister Speak. This man stole $800,000, y'all. Got a $142,000 Bentley. There are so many pastors who feel that their prominence and their status is based in their car. There's nothing wrong with liking a nice car. I drive a nice car, but the whole point is the intention. There are church members who are catching the bus while you are driving around in one of your 3 cars. Now, there's a problem when the economic ratio is off in the church and the prosperity is off. Now, I know that people reach prosperity in different seasons. I know that there are seasons where people have to learn, and I understand trials and tribulations, but I do believe that there is a fucking problem when there are members in the congregation who are facing any type of homelessness, famine, or any type of situation where your church is clocking in millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars for the building fund. What the fuck are you building? When? And for why? I mean, you said why you're building whatever you're building, but this building fund is really weird, because there should really be more money in the benevolent fund than in the building fund. And then there's the application process in order to obtain the benevolent ministry funds it's a lot. And and the funds are your funds. You're giving your tithes, you're giving your offerings, you're giving your money. Some of you want everybody to know how much money you're giving, so you'll run and throw $100 bills on the pulpit, just doing too fucking much. Sit your ass the fuck down. Put your $100 back in your pocket and quit trying to be seen. Some of you will do anything to be seen in the church. Trust and believe it's the wrong way to go. But does it make sense to you that you should have to beg for help? Come to the very church that you go to faithfully only to be talked about that you're needing help? And then have the pastor have a sermon that is directed towards you, kind of, sort of, subliminally, but, abusing the microphone? There are people in the church that are in these black churches, okay, in these all shades of brown churches, that there's an economic imbalance, and it doesn't make sense that you manipulate and deceive and focus so much on the money aspect, and you know that that is not what the Lord meant, and you try to deceive the people and make them believe if they don't give this in the way that you're saying it needs to be given, that they will go to hell, that they will suffer lack, that they will be in trouble. You know what you're doing. And then you shun people who don't have anything to give. You'll make fun of somebody if they put just a quarter in the collection plate or a quarter in the church envelope. Some of you are out of fucking line, and you were never called to be a pastor. You were just called, if you were called, as I have said before, out of darkness, and you were beckoned to come into the marvelous light. But you thought that that meant that you were supposed to get your black ass up into the pulpit and come before people and holler at them, while you have no understanding, while you have paid how much money to be a bishop? How much money did you pay to go to seminary? You've got how many more classes to go before they can say that you're qualified to preach? Get the fuck out of here. If it's broke, fix it. That's a problem. That they tell you what is what. Are you forsaking your divine encounter with the Most High God so you can learn what real spiritual teaching is? Are you relying upon a praying pastor to lead you into the promised land? Are you giving your money and then finding yourself in some financial struggles because they told you if you didn't, you would go to hell? Were you trying to outgive somebody? Oh, sister such and such gave $50. I'm going to give 53. I ain't going to let her outgive me. I mean, it is ridiculous, the fact that our people are giving their last dime in the collection plate with the hopes that they'll get a house, a car, and have all these material things and think that that's what genuine abundance is. You know, it's a shame. It's a shame that our people are perishing for lack of knowledge. Not knowing that your pastor is a predator. Not receiving real teaching. Being lied to Sunday after Sunday. Manipulated Sunday after Sunday. Telling you that it is wrong for you to such and such and such and such. Meanwhile, they're a predator. In whatever form they are a predator in. Clarence wanted the Bentleys and the Jordans. And he hid behind working with children to launch and execute his scheme. And had so many people believing that he was who he genuinely was not. Clarence knew he was not called to preach. Many, many preachers know that they're bullshitting. Bullshit in the pulpit. Molesting children, James and Valerie Jackson, nonprofit organization for children. Everybody thought they were legit. They were trying to get ready to have a couples conference, and that shit is not happening. No, not at all. Why? Because of the lewd and lascivious behavior, because of a sexual assaults on children. Single mothers and single fathers, I know you need a break. I know you're looking for a role model for your children. I understand it's rough out there. I understand that the family dynamic is not how it is supposed to be in your home. I understand that you think you're doing the right thing by letting them go to these sleepovers and these workshops and riding with the pastor and doing all this. But I'm telling you right now, keep your children away from these men and these women. You understand me? all of that shit ends today. You may need a break, but you cannot take a break if it's going to result in your children being assaulted by a predator, by the praying pastor and his wife. They come in so charming and so sweet, so dedicated to making the community better, making sure that the black children have some type of mentorship. You know, all of the words that they use to lure you in, bait you in, because they're playing on your vulnerabilities. They know that you need a break, that you just want some mommy time, that you just need just a little bit of rest and relaxation. Just maybe 3 hours without the kids wouldn't hurt. And in those 3 hours, your children are being preyed upon. And you thought you were doing the right thing. These parents thought they were doing the right thing. But in fact, that's not the case. You cannot find a daycare in a praying pastor. You cannot find a pure heart in a praying pastor. And didn't I tell you, those energies, either you came into the marriage already like that or you were influenced. Either way, they're both needing help because they're sick. Fuck a sleepover. Where is the discernment and the protection? This is ridiculous. The lady said stranger danger doesn't even exist anymore. And then the last clip. Whew. Once again, suspicious relationships. Boyfriend killed girlfriend for an alleged affair with Pastor Strickland, who was the pastor of a prominent church, allegedly. Anaya Mack had a growing relationship that raised suspicions with her boyfriend. When her boyfriend, last name Lewis, when Mr. Lewis found out, who was also a member of the church, he sang in the choir, that Anaya was having a relationship with Pastor Strickland, he said he had violent dreams and it just got out of control. He began to notice that Mac was borrowing the pastor's car, but allegedly he started to really get suspicious because Pastor Strickland began to pick Anaya up more and more. There was a police report alleging that Mac was going to expose the affair between Strickland and she. This is taking place in Michigan. Y'all, we can't keep on ignoring what's going on in these churches. We just can't. And we have got to stop allowing these predators to continue to parade around in front of people. You know, there's no excuse for the murders. There's no excuse for the scamming. There's no excuse for the fraud, the taking the word and twisting it and perverting it. It's a predator mentality. And the biggest problem is that some of you niggas are afraid to stand up and say something, do something, leave, expose, walk away, say no. You are almost like a mannequin when it comes to being in the pews. Meanwhile, Sunday after Sunday, this energy is literally making a mockery of the Most High God and Yah, literally perverting the word, twisting and manipulating, and is causing a hypnosis over the congregation, leading them to the slaughter. Too many fucking secrets in the pews, in the choir, in the pulpit, on the usher board. Too much going on. And the thing about it is that energy starts with that pulpit. That pulpit is a main ingredient in who is in it. And if you have a demon in the pulpit, you've got a predator in the pulpit. That means you have a praying pastor. He's not really laying hands on you because he wants you to be healed and delivered. He's laying hands on you because he plans on trying to lay hands on you later. And some of you women do come to church dressed like a thought pocket. You know what the fuck you're doing. You know why you look the way you're looking. You can't help if you're beautiful, but you know if you have an energy where you're trying to catch his eye. You know whether you're trying to catch your pastor's eye or not. You know it. You know what the fuck you're doing. And if you come to church with your breast out, what the fuck are you doing? Like, seriously, that shit right there, there's no excuse. You should have your chest covered up at all times. And there are women who are too comfortable with I don't give a fuck how big your breasts are. That shit ain't got nothing to do with me. They have bras for all of them breasts that you got on you. So the fact that you are purposely letting your body be seen, that's that Jezebel spirit. And now you booking a counseling session because you need help. At least you know you need help. But you're not seeking help for change. You're seeking help so you can get some dick from the pastor. And the pastor is going to give you some, and that's a problem. Whether you're male or female. The praying pastor prays on men and women. Like I said, there are man fans who will do anything to be a deacon, to do anything just to hand the pastor a sweat towel. Oh, I hope I get to, oh, I hope he lets me, oh, I just got to be able to I just want to be able to hand him the sweat towel. I'm going to practice it. I'm just going to, I mean, shit. Do anything to be his right-hand man. Next thing you know, you caught up in some fuckery. Where are you right now in your walk? Where are you right now when it comes to what do you do with your life? Do you even understand what the Sabbath is? That's the day that we're supposed to be in worship. That Sunday is the beginning of the week. Some of you will never, ever, 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 ever leave a fucked off church. That church could be on fire, which a lot of them are. You're not leaving. If the pastor burns, I'm burning. Shit. You must not understand how accurate that is. No, I don't care. Even if there's 5,000 files of evidence, I don't care. Even if I saw him doing it, he didn't do it. You saw him do it, but he didn't do it. Enabling. See, the who, what, when, where, why in these particular crimes is so intriguing, yet, as I mentioned before, disheartening. Because there are a lot of people right now, as I mentioned, who fell victim to a praying pastor in whatever level, and they've never even gone, they haven't prayed since. Prayed. They haven't prayed. They have not done anything. They have not, kicked into their lifestyle and their regimen of praise and worship, and they just walked away in totality because they're hurt. Because you want to believe that these people are redeemed. That's what they said. It's supposed to be a hospital. And and you walk into it thinking that there's going to be healing and And there's going to be people who are nice, who are kind, and it's a fellowship and a brotherhood, a sisterhood in a divine way. You're thinking one thing, and next thing you know, you meet niggas, trolls, demons, all kind of just shit. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I thought this was church. I thought this was supposed to be a hospital. No, you walked into an insane asylum. Supposed to be a hospital, but that's not what this is. No, this is a theater. And so sometimes you feel pressured to code switch, to assimilate, to act as they act so you will be accepted. But meanwhile, your soul is like, something is off. Because you're getting attacked when you just came out of a world that was attacking you. And so you're not expecting to be attacked in the church. You're not expecting to be hated on and deal with jealous men and women and be sabotaged and have a pastor who is shaky, a predator. You're not expecting these things. So it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to have to try to function in. Because you're now susceptible to thinking it's okay to sin because this is what the vibe is here. Sin. If the pastor's doing it, I guess it's cool if I do it. And then you get in the church where you find out that he's not really a shepherd. He's not protecting you. So not only are you being bullied or having to deal with all this, but you find out that your pastor's not even a protector. He's a prayer. That's fucked up. I want to really encourage you, my brothers and sisters, as we get ready to close out. I really want to encourage you all to never in your life, hold on. I don't want you to be angry with God. I want you to really, for those of you who walked away and said, fuck it, I'm cool, I need you to listen. That was an attack that was designed to make you walk away from your destiny and your journey as a chosen one, a light worker, as someone who's in the 12 tribes of Israel. If you have genuinely been saved and redeemed and you were wounded and hurt by a praying pastor, a praying congregation, then I am telling you that you're going to have to heal and get back on track. You cannot let these niggas, these trolls, these demons, throw you off of your divine path. You cannot let what wounded you, what broke your heart, what discouraged you, whatever you participated in, if you participated in some things, forgive yourself, cleanse yourself, but you've got to get back on the journey because God is still on the throne. He still sits high and looks low. The Most High God is still good. He's better than good. He's excellent. He's still perfect. He is all that you need. He is your divine source and resource. These people weren't it. You may have put your trust into these people, into your pastor. You may have really allowed your perspective to be fucked up. But you've got to pull your energy back and you have got to say, okay, what did I learn from this? But you cannot let them stop you from your calling. You're in the marvelous light. You know what your assignment is. And you cannot sit around and not talk to God. You cannot. You can't sit around and be like, oh, no, I'm not fucking with, I'm just cool. You cannot have that attitude. One thing that you have to learn is just don't go back into the building. Don't go back there. Leave now if you're still there. Keep your money in your pocket. Keep your money in your pocket. But you've got to open your mouth and talk to the Most High God and get back on your assignment. You don't need those four walls to pray. You don't need those four walls to proclaim, to rejoice, to dance, to sing, to learn, to worship. You don't need them. Now, you do need like-minded people, a tribe of believers, a tribe of light workers who are genuine in their fellowship, because the Bible says, neglect not the assembling of yourselves together. Okay? Hebrews 6:33, I believe. So, you have got to be able to put yourself in a position to where you find or pray that you are led to your tribe that does not abuse the word, that they teach the word with joy and passion and with righteousness and truth, in spirit and in truth. You've got to heal from the wounds of what they did to you. Look at who they are. Look at the praying pastor and see the praying pastor with divine eyesight. And forgive yourself. You didn't know, but you had to go through that so you could learn some things about demonic activity. That there are false prophets. The word is true. That many will be deceived. But now that you know, you can do something about it. I don't want you to end up in a situation where you are imprisoned for the wrong decision. You've got to know the Most High God's voice. If you don't know His voice, you're in trouble. If you cannot discern His voice, you're in trouble. Still away. You've got to unlearn all of the chaotic noise and noises and clear your mind so you can hear the Most High God speaking to you. It's imperative that you do so, because a praying pastor will tell you that God told them something. But you, having the free will to discern, will know if it's the truth or not. You don't have to be deceived. The praying pastor is relying on you not to move ahead of the curriculum. The praying pastor sometimes believes that they know everything that there is to know about God. What a fool, right? Protect the children, protect yourself. Keep your money in your pocket. Open up the word and read it. Pray for discernment, pray for wisdom. Somebody is shooting, y'all. So I had to press pause. Pray for wisdom, pray for discernment, pray for peace and tranquility. The last thing that my people need to do is to keep on perishing for lack of knowledge. There are some people in the pulpit that they are there because they are narcissistic, and they are just pretending to be that in order to cover up a whole mystery, a whole lot of fuckery. The praying pastor is the false prophet. Do not be deceived. I'll be right back. part of the test, the season of drought, and you survived. You're going to pass this test. You're going to climb the mountain, because on the other side of the mountain is peace, joy, tranquility, harmony, freedom. No longer are you going to have to be frustrated, wondering when is it going to happen? When is my breakthrough going to come? When is what I believe in going to manifest? How long do I have to sit here in hermit mode? How long do I have to sit here and pretend? Not much longer. You might as well go ahead and start getting your praise on now, because permanent overflow is coming. You're closer to it than you think. Brothers and sisters, the time has been well spent. I'm quite sure there's going to be some sirens going on in a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and, wrap this on up. But I thank you for being a divine listening audience. I really enjoy speaking to you guys. You mean so much to me. I thank you all for downloading. I see Texas is rocking with me. The United States, Africa, the USSR, Cambodia. Shout out to Cambodia. Shout out to everybody, okay? Israel, Sierra Leone, South Africa, Maybank, Texas, Palestine, Texas, who else did I see? Fremont, California. I just see everybody. I really thank you so much. You are amazing. Help me get to 50K. I really appreciate y'all. Go ahead and subscribe, like. If you're interested in sending donations to the Sister Speak Show, if you want to help the channel, you can go do so at $Sister Speak 76, SISTASPEAK 76. Okay, brothers and sisters, I thank you so much for being a wonderful listening audience. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer, my God, my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thank you, Yah. Thank you, Most High God. My listening audience is divinely protected, and so am I. I return to sender all negative energy, spell work, voodoo, black magic, evil eye magic, juju, mirror magic, and it has an adverse effect immediately in your bosom. We're divinely protected, and I'm not playing. Satan, I'm serving you notice that you will no longer be able to operate in deception. My brothers and sisters are waking up, and they're not going to go back to sleep. All praises are due to the Most High God and Yah. Thank you all, brothers and sisters. I'll talk to you later. The devil is already defeated. Warriors, mount